The recorder is a type of flute that's played vertically. It consists of a mouthpiece that works like a whistle, connected to a tube with finger holes. Mass-produced plastic recorders are a staple of school music classes. Most musicians, though, play finer wooden recorders. The recorder dates back to medieval Europe, though it was likely modelled after instruments from Asia. Originally called flutes, by 1500 they were among the most popular musical instruments. Around 1750, though, the new transverse flute banished the recorder to musical oblivion. It took a 20th century revival of music from the Renaissance and Baroque periods to bring the long-forgotten recorder some deserved attention. A recorder is composed of 3 hollow sections made of a lightweight hardwood, such as boxwood. Crafting one section at a time, artisans find a portion free of cracks, knots and other faults, then cut away the surrounding wood using a bandsaw. They measure the block's diameter to ensure it's large enough. Then they carefully mark and drill through the midpoint in order to mount the block on a lathe. Precision is critical. The block must be perfectly centered as it's rounded into a cylinder. Next, a large drill is used to widen the inside hole, known as the bore. It's enlarged enough to insert a tool called a reamer. Then workers ream the bore to the final diameter, which varies according to the size of the recorder. The bore tapers slightly towards the bottom of the instrument. The cylinder, now a tube, goes back on a lathe. The smooth pencil line shows the bore is straight and the tube is centered. The outside is trimmed to reduce it to the right diameter, and the measurements checked with calipers. Then it's back onto the lathe for the final profiling. This is where the maker gets to work their artistry, by embellishing the tube with ornamentation typical of the Baroque period. From raw wood to this decorative stage, it takes about an hour and a half to cut and shape the recorder's 3 sections: the head joint, the middle joint, and the foot joint. Now the surface of each joint is smoothed with fine sandpaper. Locking the middle and foot joints in a vise, the woodworker drills the finger holes, 7 holes down the front and 1 in the back for the thumb. For the recorder to play in tune, they must follow the precise measurements specified in the technical drawings. In the head joint, they cut a flat canal called the windway. It directs the air that's blown into the instrument. Next, they carve out a rectangular window with a sloped opening called the labium. The labium is what regulates the recorder's tone, the sound quality, so its size and angle are critical. The air the musician blows into the mouthpiece travels down the windway and hits the sharp edge of the labium. This creates a whistle effect, thanks to a block of wood closing off the top of the instrument. Cedar is used because it's rot resistant, despite years of hot air and saliva blowing on it. The head joint is completed by beveling the top. This forms the mouthpiece. Now a thin layer of cork is glued around all the joints. This creates a snug fit when the instrument's assembled. After testing the recorder's tone and tuning, making adjustments to the workings if necessary, the wood is stained, then waxed and buffed to a shine. Recorders have a 2-octave or 16-note range and come in about 15 different sizes. So whether it's your kid's sister learning her scales or a master creating musical harmony, the recorder has survived, and survived well.